Hello everyone and welcome back again to my YouTube channel. So in this episode of the YouTube videos, you are going to be doing some chart breakdown. You are going to be talking about the currency pairs that are having a high chances of playing out either during the lending session or during the New York session. So let's move straight to the what analysis and see. So before you start our analysis but before you start the technical analysis, first of all, what you have to do is to look at the fundamental analysis or to look at the macroeconomic event to see the upcoming high impact news that's about to be about to hit the market. So first of all, today is 27th of May 2025. So the high impact news that you are having is JPY, and this one has already happened. It happened during the Asian session, and as I'm doing my analysis as at now, we are in the lending session. So this one has already passed, and it's not going to have any impact, or it's not going to have any effect on the market. So you just skip this one. So there was no high impact news on the market today. Okay, there was no high impact during the lending session, during the New York session. So there was no high impact news. So let's move straight to the technical aspect and see what is about to happen. The currency pair, or the pairs that are going to be having a high chances of playing out this morning. So first of all, since a lot of people are having interest on gold, let's do analysis on gold and see what you're expecting to happen on gold this morning. So before you do our analysis, what we mostly do is what you do our top-down analysis. So let's first of all do our top-down analysis and see what you're expecting to happen on gold. So looking at the monthly time frame, there was no data to our left. Looking at the weekly time frame, there was a resistance level over here on gold. There was a resistance level over here. There was a support level over here. We need to consider a valid support level over here. We need to consider there was a valid support level over here we need to consider. There was another support level over here we need to consider. Okay, so those are the various levels at the monthly time frame. Let's move to the weekly time frame and see. So looking at the weekly time frame, so I think the one I did was okay. Looking at the weekly time frame, so these are the various levels, the valid levels that you're having. Looking at the daily time frame, you're having another valid level over here, another valid support level. So if price is coming down, we are expecting it to come down to to hit this level. So looking at the H4 time frame, so at the H4 time frame, so let's look at the trend and see the current market trend for gold. So looking at gold, the current market trend at this point, gold is in a gold is in an uptrend. Okay, so those who are not having a technical eye will say it's in a downtrend, but technically gold is in an uptrend. So at this point, if gold decides to move up, we're expecting price so since our directional bias is a buy, we're expecting price to move up. So if price is moving up, we're expecting a reactional level over here. Okay, so since price has gotten to the daily time frame level, we're expecting price to continue moving up to this side. But one thing is you will wait for price to close within a clean zone, a clean area of interest that you can be taking a trade in. So at this point, where I would love taking a buy is when price has broken, because this is a weekly level that it's going to be very difficult for price to break out from this zone. So at this point, I will be waiting for the candle to close above these levels. Then I'll go in for a buy to this level or to this level. So that's what I'm expecting on gold. The H4 time frame structure is not looking clean. It's not looking clean for us to even go in for a trade. So I'm not interested at this point. The directional bias is as a buy, but I'm not interested at this point. There's no price action is not looking clean, so I'm not interested in this trade. So let's move to the currency. The currency pairs that are on top of my watch list. The one that I'm seeing the potential is Euro NZD. So I've already done my analysis. So looking at Euro NZD, the monthly time frame, looking at the monthly time frame, there was no data to your left, so you don't have any reactional level, current reactional level. So looking at the weekly time frame, so on the weekly time frame, we're having some reactional levels that we need to plot it out. We need to plot these levels out. You need to bring these levels out because there was going to be an action on this level. There's going to be an action on this level. Okay, So looking at the daily time frame, so the daily time frame trend is also what? So what is the current daily time frame trend? The current daily time frame trend is what? An uptrend. You get it? But looking at the daily time frame, it looks like this candle close with no wick, but I'm seeing some wick over there, so we will ignore the ideology that I'm talking, the concept that I'm talking about with no wick. We are going to ignore it. So I'm expecting price to break out from this zone, then we're going for what? A buy. But at this point, the daily time frame is what? An uptrend. Okay, so let's look at the H4 time frame, our focus time frame. So looking at the H4 time frame as our focus time frame, what's the trend? The directional bias is what? An uptrend. Okay, the directional bias is an uptrend. So we can see from this side that price tested the weekly level exactly, and it is bouncing. You see the body of the candle close below this one, and it is bouncing back. So at this point, I would love price to break out from this level, pull back, then I'll go in for what? A buy at this point. What I'm seeing, this is what I would love to see. I'll wait for price to break out, pull back, then I'll go in for a buy on Euro NZD. So looking at GBP JPY, so GBP JPY is also on top of my watch list. So let's do a new market analysis to see what you are expecting it to happen. So looking at the monthly time frame on GBP JPY, there was a reactional level over here. There was another reactional level over here. So looking at the weekly time frame, there was another reactional level over here at the weekly time frame. So looking at the daily time frame, so it looks like there was another reactional level over here at the weekly time frame. There was another reactional level over here at the weekly time frame. So looking at the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, there was no reactional level. So you're expecting price to move to this level. So looking at the H4 time frame, at the H4 time frame price, the daily time frame trend is what? An uptrend at this point. The daily time frame trend is what? An uptrend. Price is up. Looking at the H4 time frame, H4 time frame trend, price is also up. I'm waiting for price to pull back, then we're going for the continuation of the trend. So at this point, looking at the daily time frame and the H4 time frame, looking at the daily and the H4 time frame, they're all in an uptrend. So our focus, our daily bias or our sectional bias is going to be what? A buy. We are not going to be looking for a sell, because the sectional bias is what? A buy. So at this point, if you look at the H4 time frame candle, it looks like it opens with no wick. So you might get a pullback, a deep pullback, price moving down, okay, or we can get a continuation of the trend. But at this point, what you are waiting for, price to close over here and what? Pull back before you go in for what? A buy at this point. Yeah, so that's so far so good. That is what you're expecting. And let's look at NZD card 2. NZD card 2 is looking promising for a buy. So let's reanalyze NZD card and see what you're expecting it to happen on NZD card. So looking at NZD card, there's a reactional level over here. There's a reactional level. Looking at the weekly time frame, with the weekly time frame, there was another reactional level over here. There was another reactional level over here. Okay, so let's move to the daily time frame to determine the directional bias. So looking at the daily time frame, the trend though is what? A downtrend, but there was no reactional levels. Okay, the trend is what? A downtrend, but there was no reactional levels. There was no current reactional levels. Okay, there was no current reactional level. So looking at the H4 time frame at this point, the H4 time frame has closed on this weekly level over here. So at this point, what you're expecting it to happen is what? We're expecting price, the candle to close, and you look for what? A buy on. So there was no entry over here. So I think there was an entry. Okay, so the H1 time frame too, there was no shift in trend. So there was no entry on NZD card at this point. So what you are going to be waiting for is what? Euro, NZD, and GBP JPY. If it keeps giving us opportunity, then we will take it. So thank you all for watching to the end of this video. If you have not subscribed to the channel, kindly do so. Subscribe to the channel and give a like to the video too, and keep on sharing the channel to your friends and family members. See you all same time tomorrow. Bye bye to everyone.